Hello, Nasdaq followers, and welcome to another episode of Nasdaq Spotlight. My name is Leanne Alfaro, and we are here in Times Square Live, where we're talking to a series of speakers from the Eureka conference hosted by Sisense. Thank you for joining us, Dave Siegel, CEO of Investopedia.
That's who I am.
Welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So it's no secret that AI-led analytics are creating big changes in the field and creating changes in particular in education and finance. Now, Investopedia sits right on both those. You cover all of those, and I'm happy to say I've used Investopedia plenty of times to get me out of hiccups and life, personal finance. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. I've used it a couple of times myself.
Oh, great. So tell us for people who might not have heard, I'm sure that those are very few, what is Investopedia?
Sure. So we reach 30 million people every single month. We're the world's largest finance and education site out there. Finance is complex. Investing is intimidating, and our entire job is to simplify the complex, make it easy for people to understand, and financial education is a big deal. The state of financial education in the country is woeful. The state of financial literacy is terrible. Average retirement savings is like $60,000, and Investopedia, we could have, a huge impact on that.
Great.
Good reason to wake up in the morning.
Now tell me about the importance of analytics.
Sure. So we have 3 full-time data scientists who have PhDs in astrophysics. We have about 12 analysts in our company as well. Analytics is basically everything of how we run our business. The way that things used to happen in terms of content strategy and figuring out what to write about is journalists would get into a room together and they would say, what's an interesting topic? What's happening in the news? What's trending, et cetera? And that's all valuable. But what we've done with analytics is we've supplemented that with a tool that we've built that uses artificial intelligence to help us to figure out what we should be writing about, what has a high demand for content around finance, and where there's a low supply of that content. We produce 2,000 pieces of content every single month, and then depending on how it does, we feed that information back into the system, and it helps us to determine and make accurate predictions of how articles will do once we write about them.
Wow.
So we use data and analytics for everything. Another way that we use data and analytics is in terms of topics that can be really unique based on the number of people who are looking at Investopedia. So for example, if we see tons of people looking up bankruptcy on Investopedia, or tons of people looking up Bitcoin on Investopedia, or tons of people looking up different topics, we could actually then start writing more about those topics and writing about trends that are happening in different financial topics, and that actually can then become news. Why are so many people looking up Ethereum as a cryptocurrency versus Bitcoin, a year and a half ago? We'll see those things before it actually happens often.
That's fascinating. Now, you already spoke to this a little bit about how analytics have changed the way that you operate at Investopedia. What's the return on investment?
Yeah, so when we produce content, we look at what the days to break even are on every single piece of content that we create.
Wow.
So we will know that if we created article number 34, it took 34 days to break even, and article number 48 could take 137 days to break even. We generally aim for a break even of 365 days, and it comes all from content. Looking at what the revenue is on a piece, looking at what the cost of creation is of a piece, looking at what the traffic is on a piece, and we even have like a system where people get alerts the day that the content actually breaks even. So content analytics ensures us to create content that ultimately becomes very profitable for us as a company.
So not just creating content for content's sake, but content that you know will pay off in the long run.
Yeah, a lot of people say, oh, you apply to analytics maybe too much, but the reason why you apply analytics is you want people to read the things that you're creating. And to create something that no one's going to read, well, it's not that interesting.
Yeah. Now, we live in an era where content is king, and that's a big way that people are consuming personal finance information. How do you think that people will consume it in the future?
Yeah, I think the biggest change that's happening is the growth of MOOCs in the financial education space. So MOOCs are massive open online courses, sites like Udemy, Udacity, even Investopedia Academy, where people can take courses online, self-paced courses. The industry is a $150 billion industry, and the number of people who are going to be actively taking courses online versus more passively reading articles online or getting newsletters has been dramatically changing and is going to continue to change. So people are taking a much more aggressive approach to their financial education as opposed to just kind of reading content. Everything is turning into video-based content. We don't know that generally. I'll give you an example. 2014, we had 4 million video streams on our site. We now have over 250 million video streams on our site in just 4 years. So everything is video, and within video, self-paced courses in the MOOC space is where the future is in financial education.
Wow. Now, how do you think financial services will pivot and will offer different services, or just take note of the fact that this is changing the way people are educating themselves on personal?
Yeah, so you already see the growth of robo-advisors like Betterment and Wealthfront, et cetera. That speaks to people's interest in having oftentimes more of a digital relationship than a person-to-person type relationship. I do think there's going to be a place for person-to-person relationships, but I think increasingly people in their 20s and 30s want to be able to go online, want to get educated, want to learn everything they possibly can, want to not just be told what to fish, but actually be told how to fish. And the need to actually learn those things through education is a big deal, and that's where there's every single brokerage, every online brokerage is investing more in financial education because of it.
Yeah, and certainly it seems like people want to be closer to that information too,
Yes.
right? Like they want to get it, not deal with the middleman.
Right. It used to be that people said, oh, I have a guy, and unfortunately it was a guy too often for this.
Betterment, you're looking at a platform. I mean, you're there, the information is there, and you can track it.
Exactly. You could track it, you could learn about how you should potentially change one's portfolio, and there's just a greater sense of ownership. And the future is about people taking more ownership in their finances, in their financial education, than saying, oh, this is too complicated for me, I can't understand that. And just tie it back to analytics. Analytics, because everything is moving to more digital, is the key component to any digital company. So being able to look at what data one's users, whether it's Investopedia or any of their sites, are actually spending time focused on, that will result in our entire product strategy. What do we want to focus on the products? It's where our users are actually spending their time and what they're most interested in.
Now, in this move to digital, move to video, and also removing at times the person-to-person contact, who are the winners and who are the losers?
The winners are those companies that understand that the way to build clients and an audience is not just pushing product on them. The old school way of the asset management firms and brokerages marketed and how they grew their client bases was to say, here's a great ETF, here's a great mutual fund, go buy it. What more and more asset management firms and clients and brokerages are doing is saying, I'm going to make you smarter. I'm going to help you and equip you with all the information to make a smarter decision. I'm going to provide thought leaderships. So the companies that are going to grow in finance and financial education and financial services are those that are truly focused not on pushing product and getting people to buy things, but are focused on leadership and thought leadership and making people smarter. And that's the absolute trend.
Great, and that sounds like a great future to live in.
It is. I think so too. People should know what they're doing, not just rely on others.
Absolutely. All right, Dave, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Nasdaq Spotlight. I hope that you enjoy the rest of the Eureka conference.
I have been, and it's been great. Thank you so much.
Right. Nasdaq followers, stay tuned for more programming right here from Nasdaq Market Site.